Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Janet. If this is your first time joining me, thank you. So today's video is just kind of a really relaxed video. I am just going to show you my eyeshadow collection since that is the most of what I own as far as makeup products. A while ago I did a very brief studio tour of how I set up where all my makeup is, and I kind of went through some things, but it was very broad. I didn't actually go in depth into what I actually own. So I figured it was time to sit down and actually go through some of my makeup, get it a little bit more organized. I did end up picking up a knockoff IKEA drawer system to help maintain the craziness that is all over my desk right now. So, without further ado, let's take a look at what I got. All right, so I'm going to start with my kind of one-off palettes. And if you have been a subscriber to Ipsy or BoxyCharm, I know a lot of these are going to be very familiar to you, so I will kind of just quickly go through them. The first palette is from Artist Couture, and this is the Caliente palette. And this is just a really pretty summery palette with a lot of pinks and shimmers. I really like the formula on this. This is really nice. Next we have from Laura Geller. This is the Cinnamon and Spice palette. And again, this is just a very nice neutral palette. The shimmers are true shimmers. There's no glitter in them, so I really like that about it. It's very finely milled, so it doesn't leave big chunks of glitter all over your face. Next we have the Spanglish palette from Alamar. And again, I love this formula. It's so pretty. It's very easy to work with, blend. Next from Seraphine Botanicals is Sakura and Sage, and this is a eyeshadow blush and cheek palette. This is alright. I'm not the biggest fan of this formula, especially if you saw my video of the unboxing of this. This shadow does not, it just doesn't do anything. You can dig into it all day and it's just not going to get you any color. The rest of this palette is pretty decent, I would say, but it's nothing spectacular. If I don't find I'm using that one very much in the future, I'm probably going to end up decluttering it. So the next one is from Dolce, I think. And this is, again, just a very neutral palette. You've got mattes on one side and these shimmers on the other. And again, what I like about this is that the shimmers are not glittery, so you're not getting chunks of glitter everywhere. Next from Ciate London, this is the Velvet palette. And this one I love. I love the ridging of the eyeshadows. I don't know why, this just makes me smile, but again, this is a very pretty palette. It's blends really easily. One thing I'm not a fan of is there are two shades in here that are very glittery, and they will leave flecks of glitter all over your face. Next is from Wander Beauty. This is the Wanderous Seascape palette, and this is just a very nice little shimmery palette. Next we have from this is an Ipsy exclusive from IBY Beauty. This is the Fireside eyeshadow palette. I haven't had a chance to play around with this one a whole lot. It's a very cool toned neutral palette with pop of green and a little bit of this cranberry red. Next from NYX is the Ultimate palette, and this is Ultimate Utopia. So I have a love-hate relationship with NYX. Their shadows are so hit and miss with me that I kind of swore them off. And then I saw a couple other YouTubers that had picked this up and said that it was really great. I found that they were really great in the beginning, and then as the day wore on, everything just kind of fell down onto my cheeks and smeared into a hot muddy mess. The next palette is from Butter London, and I love the packaging on this. It looks like bamboo. And then inside you've got these beautiful shimmers and these two mattes down here. Profusion Cosmetics. I've been wanting to get into them a little bit more. This is an older palette that I picked up, I believe at like Target, maybe even Walmart. But I picked this up and this is their Nude Eyes. This is just a really basic neutral palette. You've got warm neutrals here, and then you've got some cooler neutrals down at the other end. It's not my favorite formula. The shimmers I think are pretty decent, but some of these mattes have started to kind of texturize and get really bumpy. I don't know. There's like little hard flecks in them. This is just an okay palette for me. I wish that the formula was just a little bit better on it. Next is Too Faced. I actually only own one Too Faced palette, and this is the Pumpkin Spice palette. And I absolutely love this. I need to pull this out and play with this some more. Even though it's technically like a fall palette, it does have these like pinks and these yellows and these greens and purples that it could very easily transition into the spring. So I definitely need to pull this out a little bit more because I love the formula on this. All right, next from Pinky Rose. This is their Center Stage palette. I bought this in a bundle after I bought a bunch of Pinky Rose's single shades. Their singles are $1. They're super affordable. So I wanted to see how the singles compared to the formulas in their actual palettes. And I was actually very pleasantly surprised. These are very pigmented. It's actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today. The shimmers are very creamy and very pigmented. Again, not a whole lot of glitter. This does have 2 actual glitter shades in it, and they are big chunks of glitter. So I will not be putting those on my eyes, but they look absolutely beautiful. So if you are a glitter fan, I have a feeling this is gonna be up your alley. This next one, I think I got this from a Glow Addict box, and there's a reason I don't subscribe to Glow Addict anymore. I'm probably gonna make a lot of enemies, but I found that a lot of their makeup, especially their eyeshadows, were kind of these random brands, and this is one of them. This is by Okalan, and this is the Perfect Stylist Eyes, and it's deep eyes, and this is just the weirdest packaging. You've got Paris, and I think there's a Christmas tree somewhere. Maybe it was on the sleeve. I think it might have been on the, oh no, it's on the inside, just kidding. There's a Christmas tree here, there's some flowers. I don't know, this is just a very disjointed packaging. I know this is supposed to be like a dupe of something, but this is just okay. Some of the shimmers aren't very good. They don't have a lot of punch to them. The neutral, like matte shades, I guess, are okay. There's a lot of shades that are very similar. Like these 3 right here, when you put them on the eyes, they're so close in color, you can't really tell the difference. So this just isn't my favorite formula. Again, this will probably be one that if I don't find myself reaching for it soon, I'm probably going to declutter it. And this might be my most expensive palette. This is the Tati Beauty palette. What is this? The volume 1. But I like this. I actually do enjoy the glitters on this because they do have staying power. They don't, you're always going to have some fallout with glitter, but I find that with these, they don't fall out as much, if that makes sense. But it's just a really nice neutral palette. You've got all your basic colors that you can wear on a daily basis, and you can amp them up and make them smoky. You can go very neutral. I like that she's got, you know, the color stories in the different finishes. So overall, I really do enjoy this, and I need to play around with it a little bit more. This is Natasha Denona, and this is the Peak palette. This is what came in BoxyCharm. I think a lot of us got this, so I won't stay here too long. Very pretty color story. We got some more kind of rando stuff right here. Let me sift through a couple things. We'll get, oh, we got some more. I'm trying to plug through this as quickly as I can. All right, I have this Naked Heat Petite Heat mini palette right here. This might actually be my oldest palette, but it's just the orangey and the lighter shades in the full-sized Urban Decay Heat palette. So I really enjoy that. We have from Colored Rain, this is their Mimosa Moment, and this is just a really nice warm colored neutral palette that leans just a little bit to the yellow side. So it's very unique actually, even though it is a neutral palette. And I love the formula on this. Venice Fling from Bailey Sarian. And this is the biggest eyeshadow pans I think I own. These things are gigantic. I mean, look at them compared to my hand. Really unique color story. Really like the formula on this. Next from Ofra, this I got in the, I believe the Black Friday mystery box. And this is their Black Friday palette. It's just a cool gray neutral palette. I really like the formula of this, especially with the shimmers. It does take a little bit to get it to build up, especially if you're looking for like a deep smoky eye, but if you can have the patience with this, this is a really pretty palette to have in your collection. All right, next from Color Story, this is the Mystic Trance, and I believe I picked this up at Target. I thought this was really pretty. It's got some really cool jewel tones to it. The disappointing thing with this is that it is very powdery. It tends to kind of blend away a little bit. The colors aren't as bright and vivid as I would like, especially with how bright these are. You would think that they would go down a little bit more opaque, but they don't. Some of them have gone hard pan on me a little bit. So it's an okay palette. You do have to fuss with it a little bit to get it to kind of do what you want it to. Next is from LA Girl Break Free. And if you saw my box swap Christmas video with Allie over at Allie's Magical Insights, I bought her this palette. So this is actually the first palette that I received from Ulta, which arrived shattered. But fortunately, I was able to actually like press them back into shape. But I didn't feel that it was appropriate to send her a smushed in palette. So I reached out to Ulta, said, hey, I received this broken. They sent me a new one, and that's the one that she ultimately got. But I ended up hanging on to this one. I'm actually a really big fan of this formula. The shimmers here are so creamy. They don't have big chunks of glitter in them or anything, and it's just a really pretty pink and purple color story. Next from Hank and Henry is the Living in Color palette. And this is just a really cute jewel tone neutral palette. The shimmers on this are pretty decent. You get pretty good pigmentation with all the colors. It blends fairly well, so this is just a really unique palette. It's kind of bulky though. I wish it was a little bit slimmer. That's my only complaint with it. Next from Pure Cosmetics is the My Little Pony palette, and this is just so cute. This has such a fun color story. It's just very childlike. Next, this is from Aflano, and this is their Coral Orange palette. I bought this off of Amazon when I did my video of testing Amazon makeup that I've never heard of before. The colors are all very similar in tone. They're very powdery. The two yellows are complete duds. They just don't build up at all. And the reds are fairly decent, and some of these shimmers are decent as well, but it's a pretty powdery palette, and you kind of get what you pay for. This was, I think, $8, so it's not the best of quality. No, I've got two more. I got two more that are kind of standalones, and the rest are going to be actual, I have multiples of the same brand. All right, next from Lovecraft Beauty, we have, I don't know that this actually has a name. I thought it did. But this is a really cool, kind of vampy palette. It's got black and white shadow and this like deep navy blue that's so pretty, and this like purple. So you can get some really cool smoky eye looks with this. And next, oh, I do have two from Laura Geller, don't I? I didn't realize that. This is the Central Park Face, Eye, and Cheek palette. And this is actually pretty nice. I like this rosy kind of color here. They are a little bit powdery. You can't get a whole lot of versatility with this since there is only 4 shades, but this blush is really pretty. Overall, this is just a really pretty palette to have. Just to create like a neutral look. Now let's go into the brands that I have multiples of. So starting with Huda Beauty, I have the Sapphires of Obsessions, and I got this as an add-on to BoxyCharm, I think. And then I have the Smoky Obsessions palette, which I got quite a bit of use out of. Again, just really nice smoky palette. All right, next from Lurella, I picked these two palettes up during the holidays. This is the Winter Wishes. It's kind of a hard font to read. It's the Winter Wishes palette, and it is just kind of like a icy blue toned palette. This is the 'Tis the Season palette, but this is a lot brighter. The reds are actually really pigmented on this one, and I love this sparkle shade in the center here. It's just a really pretty icy white shimmer shade. All right, next from Violet Voss, we have the what is this? Is this like the Coral palette or something like that? It just has like this punch of coral to it and some peachy tones. It's just a cute little 6-pan eyeshadow palette that I really like. And I have the Creme Brulee Fun Size, and this is just the mini version. It's got some really nice shimmer shades to it. And next, well, I guess we'll start in the road. We've got the Essentials palette, and this is fairly neutral with a punch of green and gold, and then you can compare it to the Essentials 2, which is more jewel toned in color. And I love this purple right here. It's almost like a neon purple. It's so pretty. Next, I guess let's do Ace Beauté. So the first palette I tried from them is the Vintage Dawn. I'm pretty sure I got this in a BoxyCharm. But I love this color story. It's so warm, but it's got the pops of the cooler colors with the blue and the green, and it's just a really pretty overall color story. The next palette I have from them is the Scarlet Dusk palette, and this is so pretty. I love this palette. It's got like the corally pinks and the maroons, and it's just a really pretty palette, even though it is sort of monochromatic. And then next, this is my most recent one. This is the Nostalgia palette, and I love this color story. It's mostly mattes, which I didn't really realize when I first opened it. There's only 1, 2, 3 shimmers. The rest are all mattes. Next, we'll go into e.l.f. real quick. I have a bunch of their bite-sized palettes. The first two I bought were I think this is Hot Jalapeno, and then this one is the Berry Bad palette. The formula in this one is not as good as this Hot Jalapeno one. This just has such good pigmentation to it. It's so beautiful. And then, and then I also have the Truffles palette, and I love this silvery shade right here. This is so gorgeous. And then the two newest ones that I have are the Mint to Be palette and the Chocolate Mint. Let's do Glam Light. So I purchased a bundle with Glam Light. I've got the Veggie Lovers palette, which I featured in my March collab video, so I won't stay there too long, but I love this one. And then you've got the Meat Lovers, which leans more on the pink side. You've got Street Taco, which this is just such a fun, festive colored palette. You've got the Donut, which is very pastel-y and pretty and just extremely pigmented. And then you've got the burger slider palette, which again has a lot of neutrals to it with punches of color. I love these two colors right here. So I think this may have been a Black Friday deal, maybe, I don't remember. But this is the Placer Volume 2 from Zoeva. This is one of their bundle kits. And this came with the Caramel Melange, the Cocoa Blend, and the Spice of Life palette. So this is the Spice of Life palette. This has about the most diversity of all of them. It has some coppers, some shimmery shades, some warmer reds. So I think this one's actually my favorite out of all of them. Then you've got Cocoa Blend, which is just a little bit deeper in some of the shades, but overall just very neutral. That's the one thing with Zoeva is a lot of their palettes you're not going to get the bright punches of colors. These are just very wearable, neutral colors that give you like a very subtle look. And this is the Caramel Melange, and this has more of the peachy, red undertoned neutral colors. And because I had spent a certain amount of money on Zoeva at Ulta, they did throw in a free palette, and this is the Offline palette, and this is fairly unique as far as color stories for Zoeva. This definitely has the punches of color. So let's swing over our Juvia's Place. So I have a bunch of the little mini palettes. I have the Chocolates palette. So this is the Taupes palette. You've got the Mauves palette, which is just a very pretty color story. You've got the Sweet Pinks. Very bright. It will stain your eyes. Found out that the hard way. And then you've got the Violets. And the newest to me is the Wahala 2 palette, and this is just absolutely gorgeous. You can do so much with this palette. Next, let's do Morphe real quick. I had two Morphe of the 9-pan little palettes. This one is the 9B Bronzed Babe palette, and this is just a very neutral color. I don't know if they have a different formula for these little 9-pan palettes, but these are a lot harder to work with, I feel, than what's in the big giant palettes. I feel like they get like really hard pan and they just don't blend as nicely. And the other 9-pan that I have is Oh My Gorge. This is 9G. And I thought this was a really pretty color story. Again, though, like the shades are just not as shimmery. Like I'm digging in and it's just not doing a whole lot. And then I have the 35R Morphe palette. And you can see, so that is the other palette. Look at the difference. It's just a huge difference in the shimmers. I'm not really sure why. But this is just a really neutral palette. The one thing I don't like is that a lot of the colors are very similar in here. So I feel like you get a lot of repeat colors in it, but the formula on it is just so nice. The mattes blend and the shimmers are just really intense. I actually only own 2 ColourPop palettes. For some reason, I thought I had more than that. I own the Dream Street Kathleen Lights collab, and this is so pretty. And then, of course, again, I showed this one in my March collab video. This is the Child palette, and this is just a really nice green olive toned color palette that I just absolutely love. We'll go into my singles here. So some of these, let's see if I can remember right. I want to say this group right here, these are Sydney Grace. I got these in a Sydney Grace mystery bundle. And then the rest of these are Colored Rain, I believe, were from a mystery box. Yep, Colored Rain. So that was from a mystery box as well. So these colors right here. This was a grouping from my Juvia's Place mystery bag, except for this blush is from Sydney Grace. So the blush is Sydney Grace, these are Juvia's Place. And then this last palette here, this is all Pinky Rose single shades. These are $1 a piece, so I wanted to try a bunch and see what the formula is like, and I actually really enjoy them for as affordable as they are. All right, last but not least is my BH Cosmetics. So the first palette I bought from BH Cosmetics was actually this Zodiac palette. This is the Love Signs, and this is such a cool concept. It's their baked shadow form, so they're very creamy, very pigmented, and then you've got your mattes in the center. And I love how this is set up to be almost monochromatic, but you could definitely jump around and create a bunch of different unique looks. So the next palette I ended up purchasing is the Desert Oasis, and this is a very nice neutral color palette that has some punches of color to them. And then the last 4 palettes that I have are from their weekend vibes, and then I do have one of their travel series. So I bought the Avocado Toast palette, and this is more of like a green tone, but you've got like neutrals and pinks mixed in with it. And then the Mimosa palette, which is really pretty. It's like pink and sunset looking. And then next I have the Blueberry Muffins, which is just blue toned and just cool colors. I just love this. This is so pretty. And then last but not least is the Smitten in Switzerland from their travel series. Woo! Break it. And this is just absolutely gorgeous. This is so right up my alley with the olive greens and the pinks and this pop of orange. So I'm really happy I ended up picking this one up out of all the travel series. All right, so that is all of my collection. It's been several years in the making, most recently in the past year, especially with me getting into Ipsy and BoxyCharm. I usually get at least one palette in one of those at least every month. So it's definitely helped build my palette collection up pretty quickly here. So let me know what you thought down below. Do you have any recommendations of eyeshadow palettes that you love that you think I would enjoy based on what you already see in my palette collection? And that is it. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed today's video. And if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed, hit that subscribe button. So thank you for sticking with me to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.